What is up, YouTube? It is Baseball Nerd back with another MLB video. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my top 7 comeback players for 2021. These are 7 guys that, didn't have great years in 2020 and I think are going to bounce back and have great years, whether it was due to injury or just poor play or a mix of both or whatever it was. I think these guys are going to come back and have awesome 2021 seasons. So if you like this video, please hit it with a thumbs up. Subscribe, turn on the notifications if you want to. Come back for more MLB content. Let's get right into it. First off, we got Muncie of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Obviously, he got a World Series ring. He's got to be, feeling good about the season. And he hit pretty well in the World Series. He hit .318 in that World Series with a .944 OPS. So nothing to be mad about. But in the 58 games he did play in the regular season, it was not very good. He hit .190 with a .720 OPS, which are both well below his career averages. But his walk rate and his chase rate were still excellent. He's a good hitter. He's had a good spring training. He had a good postseason for the Dodgers. So I think he's going to be a bounce back player and have a great 2021. Moving on to the Chicago Cubs, we got Kris Bryant. He was hurt throughout the majority of 2020. He slashed .206, .293, .351 with just 4 bombs and 11 RBIs in 34 games. So he barely played, a little more than 50% of the games. He had back issues at the end of summer. Then he had a sprained left wrist and a ring finger diving for a ball in August. And then he tweaked his right oblique in September. So he was just dealing with injuries left and right throughout the whole season. So he wasn't playing a lot, and when he wasn't full Kris Bryant. But in 2019, don't forget, he had 31 home runs. He slashed .282, .382, .521, and was an all-star that year. He can play third. He can play the outfield. He's super athletic. He's fast. He has good defense and a good bat. I have no doubts that he'll bounce back in 2021. Coming in at number 5, we have Johan Mankata, third baseman of the Chicago White Sox. And if you look back to 2019, he had almost MVP-like numbers. He slashed .315, .367, .548 with 25 home runs, 34 doubles, 83 runs scored, and 10 stolen bases to add along with pretty good defense over there at third base. He's a switch hitter. He has a lot of potential there and had a great season in 2019. It was really just 2020. He got hit by COVID at the beginning of the season, and he admitted openly that it hit him really hard and he struggled with it physically and mentally. It took him a while to get over it. He didn't even feel like himself till the last week, maybe 2 weeks of the season. And so I think having a short season where you feel like that crappy mentally and physically for that long with such a huge pandemic going on and having to play baseball through it, being hit that hard with the actual disease himself, I think we got to give him a little bit, a benefit of the doubt there. I think 2021 he'll be looking a lot better. He's still only 25 years old. I don't put too much merit into the 225, 320, 385 slash line with 6 bombs last year. He still showed some good power. He's not, he's a switch hitter. He plays pretty good third base, and I think he found his home there over second base. So I think 2021 will be a great year for Yuan Mankata. Next up, we have our first pitcher in Stephen Strasburg. We all know the injury happened. He had to get surgery for carpal tunnel neuritis in his throwing hand. He was 0-1 last season with a 10.80 ERA in 2 starts. The second start came in August when Strasburg only pitched 2/3 of an inning and then had to walk off the mound, and he was ultimately shut down for the rest of the season. He didn't get to pitch a lot in 2020, but his 2019 was insane. He was coming off a really hot season for him. He was the first pitcher to go 5-0 in a postseason and be named the World Series MVP in 2019. He definitely helped that Nationals team reach their full potential. I think he'll come back and do the same thing. It's really health. That's a big thing with Strasburg. It's kind of always been the big thing. We saw a full healthy season from him in 2019, and look how dominant he was. He's a great pitcher, top 10 when he is healthy. So I'm looking forward to a healthy, good season from Stephen Strasburg over there in Washington. Next on the list, we have our first and only two-way player, Shohei Ohtani of the Angels. And I think he's the guy that needs this comeback year the most. He needs to prove to people that he can be a two-way player, do it both on the mound and at the plate. He didn't find success in 2020 at either part of that job. He hit .190, .291, .366 for his slash line, 7 home runs and 24 RBIs in 44 games last year. He only had 2 starts on the mound before he got shut down for a right forearm strain. He had TJ in the end of 2018 and didn't throw at all in 2019. So pitching has been pretty bad the last couple years for Ohtani, whether it's not pitching or coming back and having those 2 pretty egregious starts in 2020 where he lost his velo and his command. But in spring training at the plate, he's looked like a monster. He's launched 2 balls over the batter's eye, over 440 feet. He's hitting .571 with 5 home runs. He's killing the ball at the plate, and on the mound, his velocity's back. His splitter looks gross. He has that going for him. His command was a little off his last 2 starts, but a lot of guys have been getting the ball, crushed off of them in spring training. Clayton Kershaw, Walker Buehler, Trevor Bauer, 3 pitchers for the Dodgers that I watched have terrible innings this spring training, and it's happened to a lot of people. Shane Bieber got smacked around by the Angels too. So there's pitchers doing that, so I'm not too worried, but it is Ohtani, not pitchers that have great track records like the ones I just named. So I understand it, and he does have a blister right now, so that's not a big injury. Hopefully that's what's affecting his control a little bit. We just hope it's not a big injury because that could set back the whole comeback player of the year type of deal for him. But the thing that sets him apart is he could still hit, and I feel like the hitting, no matter what happens with the pitching this year, his hitting is going to be off the charts. He's going to be one of the best DHs in the league. I feel like him and Yordan Alvarez, as far as left-handed DHs go in the American League West, are going to go off and have a good battle of sorts against each other with their stat lines. So we'll see how that plays out for Shohei Ohtani. Coming in at number 2, we have outfielder for the Milwaukee Brewers, Christian Yelich. Yes, we all know he had a down year after being an MVP type player the last couple years, but there's things that point upwards for Christian Yelich. He's had a pretty good spring training so far, and one of the big things he said was last year not getting to use iPads in the dugout and different things for feedback that really have helped him in the past couple years and things like that. But even in a disappointing year, Yelich still ranked in the 98th percentile in hard hit percentages and the 99th percentile in exit velocity. He still hits the ball hard. He's going to find it. It's going to be all right. It was a 60-game season, like we said, for a lot of these other guys. So if you had a bad stretch of luck in the beginning of the season for 15 games or so, it really screws over your whole stat line for the whole year in such a short season. If we had 162 games, he might have been able to turn it around. He's hitting the ball hard. He's just not getting super lucky. A lot of the balls are finding gloves in the field, and I think he'll definitely have a bounce back year. I just have one guy who I'm hoping is the comeback player of the year above Christian Yelich. I don't know if I could have anyone else at the number 1 spot going into 2021 looking at comeback players, but obviously, as you could probably guess, my pick is Trey Mancini of the Baltimore Orioles. The day baseball shut down last year for COVID-19 was also the day that Trey Mancini, who was 27 at the time, went in for surgery to remove a tumor from his colon. He then spent the rest of the year battling stage 3 colon cancer, 6 full months of chemotherapy, and he was their best player in 2019. Before the 2020 season, he was the face of the franchise. 2019, he slashed .291, .364, .535. He had 35 home runs, 97 RBIs. He could play the outfield. He could play first if needed. He's an all-around awesome dude, awesome baseball player. I think everyone's rooting for him to be the comeback player of the year. I think he's got a good chance of earning it on the field and off the field. So that is it for my top 7 comeback players of 2021 for baseball. I hope you guys like this video. Let me know what you guys think down below. If I missed anyone that you guys would want to see in the top 7, who you think's going to have comeback player type of years next season. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.